My mom's relationship with her boyfriend has opened my eyes to how hypocritical my boyfriend is. I, 23F, just recently went to my hometown to be support for my mother, F63, who had court for a divorce hearing. My father, 69M, is in prison for second-degree sexual assault, firearms charges by a certain person, and selling prescription medication and marijuana. The judge granted the divorce for my mother and even allowed her to keep all of the assets from the sale of the property, which means that my father would not be entitled to any of the proceeds from the house sale. The look on my mother's face was absolutely priceless, and a weight has been lifted off of her shoulders and mine. Knowing my mom is now free from my dad is a blessing. I stayed in my hometown for 3 days, came back to the city I live in yesterday after court, and was able to spend time with my family, including my mom's boyfriend. We will call him Quill. I want to say Quill is at least mid-60s, but don't quote me. Quill has schizophrenia. The only thing that controls his schizophrenia so he can somewhat function is marijuana. When he stops smoking for a few days or for a while, he doesn't make a lot of sense when it comes to his speech, has grandiose thoughts and actions, and just can be downright a jerk. He has never been physically abusive towards my mom, nor verbally abusive. While I was in my hometown on the first night, we got Taco Bell and we ate outside at our local park. We talked about everything under the sun, including whether my mom and Quill have decided to be married when the divorce was granted. I told them both to take their time, get to know each other now as single people, and also before making anything legal to see whether being married would impact their Social Security disability checks, USA. Here is where Quill and my mom both made sense. They asked me on how my relationship with my boyfriend is. I'll call him Bucket, 52, male. Bucket and I have been together for many years, pretty much since I was 20. Bucket and I's relationship, it has its moments where it is great. I never felt the connection that I felt with him with anyone my own age. The chemistry was perfect. I thought I found forever. But over this past year and a half, I've realized that Bucket is never going to give me the progress I want. Bucket is a Christian man, which I have never had a problem with. However, he cherry-picks the Bible, exactly how my father, who might still be in the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, did, without the racism or the homophobia. While Bucket would never be expected to wave a pride flag in a pride parade, he never once has tried to convert me into being straight. I'm bisexual. Bucket has always said he didn't want to move in together until we were married. We are moved in together. We've lived together since 2021. I even told the judge when I came up on the stand to testify that my mother lived in her state for 90 days, that my address was his address for residency. But when I've tried to get my mail forwarded to his house, my mail goes to my sister's house right now, but I will eventually have to put it in a P.O. box. He always says that couples shouldn't live together before marriage, but that's exactly what we've been doing. If you are going to follow the Bible, don't bend it to what you want. Follow it. Don't be telling people that they shouldn't be moved in together before marriage or having sex before marriage, and yet that's what you are doing. Even if it's been over 2 months since the last time we even had sex, and we go 6+ with a dry spell. When Quill and my mom asked me about any plans about me being married to him eventually, I just told them both. He won't even allow me to have my mail forwarded to his house. He says that couples shouldn't live together before marriage, but yet we have been living together since 2021. He cherry-picks the Bible so much it isn't even funny, just like Dad. And what Mom and Quill said was shocking. Quill said, he doesn't want progress. He's afraid to be married because of his fear of disappointing God. But if he can't get over his fear, he's going to be even more of a disappointment to paradise, one of his grandiose visions. Mom, that's why I can't believe in what your father said about race mixing and about how the Bible says we shouldn't celebrate holidays. For the guy who doesn't make a lot of sense with everything he says, he made a point right there in the park, and even shared a similar story of how he dated a girl for 9 years and left because of the same thing I am struggling with, Bucket. Progress. I want marriage. I want to share someone's last name. I want the rocking chairs rocking side by side. Bucket will never want that. He can't get over his fear of disappointing God. He was married in 2006, divorced that same year. Ex-wife has remarried for almost a decade or so. For his divorce from his first wife, he was pressured by her family. and her to be married when he wanted to take his time. He learned from it to stand up for himself. Or so I thought. Turns out he can't even stand up and defend his backwards beliefs, and can't explain to me why I shouldn't have my mail forwarded to his house. But yet we can live together unmarried. I think God would forgive him. It's been over a decade, almost 2. You've had the time to get over your fear. You've had the time to reflect on his word. You've just chosen not to, or you don't want marriage. But yet you want the wife behavior. I'm not a permanent girlfriend. I am someone's wife someday. Seeing my mom's relationship with Quill and how she has changed from being a proud, grand wizard's wife to just being content with the companionship with Quill, and how she is content to not be remarried but is okay to share her home with him, has made me realize that even my own mother, who once would stand by my father who sexually assaulted me, who now said to the court yesterday that my father sexually abused me and that he abused her too, can change her beliefs. Who can be okay with couples living together before marriage? Who can be okay with sharing a home with someone who isn't your husband? Who isn't okay with someone who is a hypocrite being her spouse anymore? I paid for her divorce. Her attorney was worth every bit of the money I paid, and I would pay him double in a heartbeat. If my mother can be free from a hypocrite, I can be too. I deserve better.